For most of our lives, right, when we thought about space, it was all about exploration, this romantic quest for knowledge. Well, today, we're talking about a fundamental shift, a huge one, because this isn't about exploration anymore. Nope, this is about the single greatest industrial revolution in human history. Seriously. And this quote, man, it just nails the shift, doesn't it? That roar of a rocket, it's not just about national pride anymore, not by a long shot. That is the sound of a brand new economy being forged, an economy that's going to reshape our world in ways we're only just starting to wrap our heads around.
And look, I know this sounds like science fiction, but it's not. Wall Street, we're talking serious money here. They're projecting the space economy will surge past, get this, $1.8 trillion by 2035. Think about that. This isn't just some new market popping up. We're talking about an asset class on a scale we have never seen before.
But you know, even calling it a market feels like a massive understatement. It's so much bigger than that. What we're really talking about here is the discovery of the 8th continent. An infinite, infinite resource base just waiting for us to unlock it. So you can see the motivation has totally flipped, right? We've gone from that old flags and footprints era, driven by geopolitics and national pride, to something completely new, an era defined by capital and courage. It's not about planting a flag anymore, it's about building the actual supply chains of the future.
Okay, so the big question is, why now? Why is all of this happening right at this moment? Well, it's because we've finally broken the one barrier that has held us back, that has shackled us for a century.
And that barrier has a name: the gravity tax. For decades, the cost to send just a single pound of anything into orbit was astronomical. A king's ransom, seriously. It made every single space-based dream, whether it was manufacturing or mining, just economically impossible, a total non-starter. But that era is over. Done. The chains are broken. That single biggest obstacle that held humanity back, it's been shattered.
So what was the breakthrough? Reusable rockets. It's that simple. Pioneered by this whole legion of competitors, SpaceX, Blue Origin, Rocket Lab, the cost to get to space has absolutely collapsed. We're talking down by over 90%. And think about history for a second. Whenever transportation costs plummet, civilization expands. It happened with the railroads, right? And now it's happening all over again, just right above our heads.
Okay, so let's talk about that $1.8 trillion. Where does all that value actually come from? Well, let's break down the main pillars of this new orbital economy. It really breaks down into 3 big stages. First, we build the invisible digital infrastructure. Then, we establish what you can think of as the factory in the sky. And finally, we tap into the resource-rich platinum heavens. So let's kick things off with that first one: infrastructure.
Now, you might think the first $1 trillion is going to come from something flashy like asteroid mining, but nope, it's going to be from data. We are literally building a digital shell around our entire planet, a massive mesh network in low Earth orbit that is going to completely obliterate the very idea of being offline. This orbital network, it's becoming the central nervous system for our entire economy, right here on the ground.
All right, now for the second pillar. And I'm telling you, this is where things get truly mind-bending. The most valuable real estate in the entire solar system? It isn't land, it's microgravity. See, without gravity constantly pulling tissues apart, we can actually bioprint complex human organs. We're talking hearts, livers, using a patient's own cells. Just imagine that. The organ waiting list could just become a thing of the past, a relic of history.
And it doesn't stop with medicine. Here on Earth, gravity creates these tiny little defects in optical fibers that limit their performance. But up in space, we can manufacture absolutely flawless Z-band fibers, the kind that can transmit data at speeds that are just unimaginable today.
And this potential, it really extends to pretty much every high-tech industry you can think of. The next generation of super powerful semiconductors, they're not going to be made in a clean room on Earth. Nope. They'll be made in the perfect, natural vacuum of a factory floating 400 kilometers straight up.
And that brings us to the third and final pillar: resources. This prediction right here really gets to the heart of the next great boom. We're not just living in an economy of bits anymore. We're moving to one that combines those bits with actual atoms mined from the cosmos.
This is what you could call the resource imperative. I mean, think about it. Our global economy is built on a model of infinite growth. But we're doing it on a planet with very finite resources. That's just a mathematical impossibility. It can't last. Unless we look up. The asteroid belt, it's not just a bunch of rocks. It's a celestial bank vault. It holds more precious metals than have ever been mined in all of human history combined. We can literally zone Earth for living and turn the rest of the solar system into our supply chain.
But you know, this isn't just about infinite resources or making a profit. It's not. Beneath all the numbers and the projections, there's a much deeper, more profound reason we're doing this, a reason that really touches the very soul of this whole investment. What this really means is that we aren't just buying stock in a few rocket companies. We're investing in an insurance policy against extinction. We're creating a backup drive for our entire biosphere. This is the ticket. This is how humanity becomes a multi-planet species, one that's resilient to any single catastrophe that might happen here. It's about profit, yes, but it's also about survival.
So look, the window is open. The technology is finally here. The capital is flowing in. And when you put it all together, it all leads to one simple final question. A question for every single one of us.
The wealth of the heavens is just sitting there, waiting. The greatest industrial revolution in all of human history is kicking off right now as we speak. So the only question left to ask is, are you going to stay on the ground?